last regional, or the last split, I should say, of the RLCS in spring. But as we get into this one, this best of 7 winner of this will go and play the winner of G1 and Hoxie in our semi-finals a little bit later on. But you said that this lobby might not have the, the top of the cream of the crop here, Danny, but I think this is going to be one ding-donger of a series as Takos gets the first one within 10 seconds.
Well, this was just what we may expect. That goals will be coming out here. Maybe a defensive sort of horror, but do you know what? Some of these players might not be familiar with the spotlight of somewhat everybody looking upon them. Bit of nerves could play in a factor in such a series like this, Crafters. We know it as well. We've seen it far too often with the newer players here, but Compact is probably the oldest player here and probably going to be that sort of stonewall here, which is required, especially for BOTIFARRA to do well here.
But that's the thing about all these Rising Star Odyssey tournaments, Danny. It's all about giving these fringe bubble players the time of day, as that one very awkward on the goal line. Let's see what happened. Laza puts it up. Simash just bonks it towards net. Oh, it was a bump from Nas as well that just eliminated the keeper and opened the door, and it's an unfortunate on goal at the end, but I think the damage had been done before then.
Certainly so, and it's one of those situations that you just go, oh well, move on here. You've got, what, 4 odd minutes quite comfortably get something going here. What will be at least somewhat nice to see, Craftman, is what can they actually do when they get the ball here. We actually haven't seen that side of the game so far.
Well, an upfield pass to Compact, slots at bottom right, and your question answered immediately, Danny. Great awareness upfield and great stones from Compact to go forward and wait for that pass from Lassa.
About time something happened, and you're right, we were wondering what was the capable of this side here. SK Gaming left the pitch far too open, and Compact, he's got options downfield and decides to go it lone here. So the issue already seems to be a very individual game. When they had that team play, something happens.
We're going to see some high-flying offense in this one. I know you're a more defensive-minded player and caster here, Danny. When you have these really aggressive offenses, like we're seeing here in the opening stages of this series, Danny, what can a defense do to combat that? As again, Semas goes right back down, and SK Gaming just keeping this pressure up.
Naturally, I would suggest trying to slow the pace down here. It's not necessarily fast or quick here, but just killing it. Just the ball naturally, allowing yourself to have an option or two here. Ooh. That's a Falba save that just come on through, but that's the problem as well too. Look at the rotations. Where's that sort of second man to follow through, catch it, or an upfield player to even catch and play on to it? And Rai there with one play by himself. This, unfortunately, is the wrong ending here.
And Lassa not able to make the touch there, and it does not pay for it. Tekos had a chance to push the lead to 3-1. Right back down the other end, couldn't squeeze it against the post. And BOTIFARRA stave off that for now, and do end up tying it up down the other end. Rai will get credit off this passing play.
Oh, this is fabulous. Damas should have done something much better there and just tips it on in through a very tight angle here. We did say it was going to be goal scoring. There was nothing that sits here which suggests otherwise. In Crafters, you might talk about the defensive side of the game. We may actually need to look more on the offensive side. It could be a game of 4, 5, and 6 goals here. It's just the question is who can outdo each other here.
It's going to be a game of one-upmanship, isn't it? Just who really has the possession for longer. Shot count favouring SK right now. 10 shots for them in their favour, 6 only for BOTIFARRA, but still a tied up series, or tied up game. As again, SK try to work out of this corner. Rai will have this one-on-one with Nas, and Simas will try and recover here. Tekos around this left-hand side, looking for a man in the middle. Won't have it quite yet, but Nas comes flying in, and top left corner pushes SK back into the lead.
Exquisite. Just look at that there. Forces the 50, moves in, but bumps away. That's the second time. If you're taking notes here of Combat, who's just been removed off to the pitch here, you just want somebody to sit there and actually help him out there. He is being left in that position, but he should also be able to deal with it. And just like that, 3-2. And here is the man who was bumped and giving possession too cheaply.
And again, pressure from SK. Tekos firing from midfield. You're expected to save that, and they do. And again, just this aggressive stance from SK. They do end up losing possession, but it's these shots from the midfield. You saw Tekos make it from the center field. It was going to always be saved, but it does allow this follow-up shot from the rest of his team. And now Rai in his own possession, right back down the other end, and Tekos just flying around this pitch at pace. Is giving BOTIFARRA a lot to think about. You just never know where Tekos is going to end up.
Certainly so, and there he is once more. Ball rolling up.
Bob.
Good Bob.
Oh!
What a demo! Is there a save? Unfortunately not. Craftman, you can just sit there and just feel like the dominoes was slowly knocking one by one down. Oh.
Messy is the word that comes to mind when I watch that back on the replay. But it works for SK. And again, like you said, Tekos being the difference maker there, getting the original bump on the defender. And then just BOTIFARRA didn't really know where to go from there. Less than 50 seconds now, and BOTIFARRA do need those couple of goals to send it to OT. Tekos again, another fake. Leave it for Simas, and he misses it off the wall. Does let Naz have a chance. Tekos trying to dunk it down, but Rai will get the save, and they can't really get the counter-attack going too quickly, and again, Tekos over the top. Pretty much seals away game one here, Danny. But again, it does feel like the pressure from SK, even the ones that BOTIFARRA are saving, they cannot turn field quickly.
Yeah, you can look at sort of 2-3 goals and sort of break it down individually. That last one there was pretty much driving down the middle without a plan. 1 or 2, we just saw the backboard being pelted, nobody being ready to even just move it across here. Your statement is right. Game 1's probably done and dusted here. What is, however, the situation now? Can BOTIFARRA find something to maybe use for game 2 here? Is there that thread to start pulling away here?
I want to say, just before this one touches down, 9 shots from Tekos. He might even make it 10 here if he got that read off the corner. Doesn't quite get it. But a lot of pressure from SK, and especially Tekos. Really been the disruptor for SK Gaming and throwing BOTIFARRA through the ringer. You see the stats there on the bottom of the page as well. 63% field domination for SK, which means 63% of the time the ball was in the blue half. BOTIFARRA just had no chance of that, and with 6 shots on the board, like Nas and Tekos outshot BOTIFARRA on their own.
Certainly did, and it's maybe a certain shame as well we didn't actually see the amount of full touches as well too, but even based on the statistics there that we do have on display this time around, Craftman, there is worrying signs. That's one stat to look at, but the other one is the boost consumption as well. BOTIFARRA had about the same of SK Gaming, which suggests here that they're moving around quite a lot because SK Gaming's moving them out of the position defensively. So that leaves you the wonder here, is the positional game actually on point here, or is SK Gaming much more better offensively? The problem is that's only one game. It's too early to say, but the statistics is alarming.
Yeah, and after sweeping one of our invited teams in Monaco Gaming, not the best showing here in the quarterfinals, but first game done and dusted in SK's favour. BOTIFARRA wipe the slate clean. Let's have another crack at it. Remember, they did concede within the first 10 seconds, and they might do so here. Naz has a free run at net. Does he have the boost for it? He just about gets it. And in exactly 10 seconds again, SK in the lead.
Does exactly what you have to do. Pops it in middle, runs with it comfortably. Just moving that one where you have a simple situation, and you just wonder what can be moved across it. But here, Craftman, just like that, they're back in front again. It's what their opposition can do. The same question as 5 minutes ago.
The pedal pushed right to the floor as SK Gaming. And again, we've not really talked much about the demo game. We've not really seen too many significant ones. But I imagine if SK start employing some demolitions, it would leave BOTIFARRA in a less favourable position, not obviously just on the field, but got to feel that their mental might start going if that is the case. It is only game 2. I'm not going to write them off just yet. But we do need to see some flip field position. I mean, Compact in the first minute only has 1 ball touch, and make that 2 in fact, and a shot from it as well. There comes Lysa. Can't quite find pay dirt this time around. But this is better from BOTIFARRA, keeping SK back in defense for an extended period of time.
Well, it was at least the idea of one player, second one move across here. It'd be foolish to write this side out if you were going to based on what we've seen so far. It was a nice passing play, an option downfield, but that there ball just shows you they're pushing a little bit too hard here. You want to talk about the psychology or the mental side of the game. Demo's one way, but just keeping them sort of trapped in the ability on answer is just equally as better.
And again, look at Tekos just wasting time in the corner here, forcing one man to jump for it. And Lysa does make the initial block, but can't get the second. Semas, the former endpoint player, will get his first of this game, number 2. And I know you mentioned earlier, Danny, about these players not being used to the spotlight. Of course, we've seen Ryan, various RLCS regionals this past year. Of course, Tekos has been around the scene for a long time. But Semas as well, going on to the endpoint roster after the success they had last year with Metza, Wave, and obviously Seiko, and then ended up being Archie towards the end of that. Going into that pressure situation, a big UK org representing at the top level RLCS. Didn't quite get the job done, but he is used to that spotlight nonetheless.
He's a very good player, but while we briefly touch on the endpoint sort of moment as well too, and I think it's fair to sort of pay homage to the man himself, Metza Norris, with his latest retirement tweet. That was a bit unfortunate and sad to see, because he probably was a great mentor and taught a few things to these players, and that's what the scene needs to see as well growing up, and hopefully with the next RSOs as well, we might actually see a few old faces becoming coaches too.
Would love to see Metza continue in the scene, because he has built such a legacy over the past 5 or 6 years. He'll be sorely missed as a player, but hopefully he sticks around. And I'd like to see him get a little moment at the Düsseldorf Worlds as well, but Compact getting his moment here in game number 2 as he caps the lead.
That's a fabulous idea to get the 50 across, and it's just a question of who's faster. I'm surprised that Compact won that particular battle, but it's a battle that you just might go, do you know what? Let's get it on. Let's face SK Gaming where they want to. And whether it's Düsseldorf or here in Europe, it's still a battle nonetheless.
What I will say is SK aren't running away with this quite yet. Game number 1, they seem to have the upper hand, but BOTIFARRA are starting to battle back, obviously, with that 1 goal. But Naz just completely whips them in offense. 3-1.
I hope he has armor, because right now that is a flesh wound that BOTIFARRA just had. And it's almost like a sandwich right across here. Just spread a bit of butter on it as well too, because you know what, that was delicious.
Zen-esque from Naz.
Let's not say Zen-esque.
I'm not saying it was exactly what Zen would do, but
the second greatest Irish player.
Zen did, honestly, if Zen did that move, it would have been the best goal in the world. Naz does get another, gets his hat trick here. But it was a good goal from Naz nonetheless, and his hat trick makes it even sweeter with 1:29 left.
That was a good goal. There's nothing stealing away, and yes, it's just now compiling the pressure here that SK Gaming's delivering. And do you know what? This is just a side here, just eager to show, do you know what, here we just want to get through as these teams as quickly as possible and get on to the semi and grand final. And do you know what, if they're in this kind of mood here, can you blame them?
Cannot blame them whatsoever. Seem to be on the path. Oh, what a shot from Lysa. That went in and giving BOTIFARRA a little bit of hope. Pressure still remains, and again, SK just just looking to prove why they are one of the better teams. Obviously, they did have to qualify to get to this event. So invited is one of our 4 invited teams of PSG, Monaco, G1, and Hogan mode. You got to admit that SK, they've always had these rosters that don't, they have a lot of potential and a lot of expectation off season, and then when they get into the actual RLCS season, they somewhat fall flat. I don't know if this is going to be the SK roster going forward into the next season of RLCS, but they are showing some good chemistry so far. And with a 4-1 victory here in Game 2 and a 5-2 in Game number 1, certainly rising to the challenge here against BOTIFARRA.
Certainly so. It's an impressive performance by them, and we could probably have a very lengthy conversation on SK game, especially with some of the lineups it's had in the past as well. But let's just take a moment here, because you said one key word there, Craftman, and that's the chemistry of this team here. They haven't put a foot wrong here in the grand scheme of things. They've been beaten to a ball. Yes, they've conceded an odd goal here or there, but they've given each other so many options here that it's allowing them to dominate with such freedom here.
It does seem quite open. I don't want to say it's free for SK. Not at all. Like, they are having to really work to beat BOTIFARRA here. But I don't think BOTIFARRA have the speed or the just the quickness that they need against SK Gaming, because as we saw in game number 1, if SK just retain possession and just shoot on this net over and over again, the BOTIFARRA have had no response up till now. That last game was a bit more even. You saw it in the stats as well. The possession was near enough 50-50. And even the shot count here, we're looking at 6. I'm trying to do some math in my head. 6. Oh, it's gone now. Never mind. But I think that was a more evenly matched game in game number 2. But I think BOTIFARRA, they need this one. They cannot afford to go down 3-0. They need to get the reverse. They can't afford to be in a reverse sweep situation. If they want to win this, they got to win it now.
Certainly do. I'm just trying to work out how many casters in the Rocket can't do maths. It's a bit alarming.
It's you know it's looking at numbers, and sometimes the numbers just don't like you, and they just laugh in your face, Danny. The stats just laugh in your face half the time. But Tekos, I mean, 10 seconds, and now 9 seconds into each game so far has been the opener for SK, and Tekos has 2 of them to boot.
I think the only thing that's laughing right now is SK Gaming. When you are scoring with that consistency from the start off, but this is now a systemic problem from the back lines here, and that needs to change here. And Compact, again, look at what his option is, looks what his boost is, cannot throw the ball up here as Ryan just again likewise here. And this is unfortunate here, because this is not the 2 sides that we saw in our opening of round of 16. We thought this one's going to be high scoring. It was in game 1, but it was not what we expected here. There has to be something about BOTIFARRA, and it has to happen probably in the next 2 minutes here.
Certainly need to see BOTIFARRA getting one back right off the bat here. Can't let Naz do his thing, give him space, and he'll punish you, as we've seen in games previous. We'll save this time, and I think BOTIFARRA just need to get into a rhythm. Again, another double commit there. You see, luckily enough for Rai, he was in a good enough position, and that's a decent enough shot. It forced the player on SK coming back to make a touch, and he made it straight into the orange net.
That was a wonderful transition downfield, especially in the awkward situation. You thought the striker from SK was going to plummet that one down, and that gets you at least that 1 goal back. And that's what I said, the next 2 minutes is going to be crucial while we see a 4-0 sweep, or a series might be a bit tighter. But that ball by Compact, once again, throwing a little bit too loose and allowing this ball to be very much turned over too easily.
Oh, a pass from Lassa. I think Compact opens a lot of space on this offensive side for BOTIFARRA. Now looking for their first lead of this series. Everything tied up at 1. Tekos over to Nas. And great block from Lassa. Now starting to read what SK are doing, or BOTIFARRA. They're, like I said, trying to get into a rhythm. and just not make silly mistakes. And that's a great shot from Nas, excuse me. Pinches it off the ground, but Lassa is there to make the save. Upfield we go. Lassa with 6 boosts, won't have any options here. He'll get it over to Compact, and now Rai has to run his little car all the way back and does eventually get into the corner safely.
Thankfully, the slicks were on and he was able to get back in time as well. But the position by SK Gaming leaving a bit to wonder. That will be slotted into, and that what we said before, move a defender out here. We talked about the stats earlier, Crap, and you mentioned it quite literally. That is case in point.
That's just expertly read by Nas. Positions his car in a point where he knows the ball is going to be cleared over to that side of the net. And he's ready to take the shot once more. Back into the leader, SK. Here comes Tekos, looking for the third. He'll lay it down to Nas. Can this be the dagger here in game number 3? No, not quite. Saved on the line. Another shot from Tekos and another save from Rai. The thing you've got to say about BOTIFARRA is after the disaster that was game number 1, they've not really let SK run away with it except in garbage time.
Yeah, that's certainly true. And while those sort of chances come thick and fast here, SK Gaming probably won't be regretting scoring it because we haven't seen the capabilities at the other end. There's Rai there, but too sluggish, and it will get in. That's why 3-1.
It's a good descriptor you just used there, Danny. Sluggish. It does feel very laboured from BOTIFARRA in defence. And these shots and offensive pushes from SK are really giving BOTIFARRA a lot of things to think about and a lot of issues that they can't really address at the moment. Still a minute 50. 1 goal back could change the tide and give them some kind of hope here in game number 3 to not go down 4 match points against this well-gelled and well-oiled SK Gaming machine. If they want to do that, they've got to act quickly because in the next minute and a half, SK are just not going to let up off this offensive pressure, are they, Danny?
No, certainly not. And why would you, when you have them effectively where you wanted and effectively swarming in terms of trying to get themselves away and finding that sort of exit ball and a strategy plan to work with it? Because I think it'd be fair to say G1, and I believe it was Psycho that said it, they had a strategy going in today and they executed here. SK likewise, and it hasn't been almost perfect, but it's been pretty much close to it, and there's maybe a chance here, but again, it's not even sluggish, it's just too slow now here in terms of reaching to the ball.
1 shot, by the way, from BOTIFARRA so far. They could have made it 2, but Nas deletes Lassa off of the field. It's really, really telling when you... I know we labour on about the shot counts and whatnot, and talking about stats this way, that, and the other. But when you have 1 shot compared to the 12 that SK have put up in this, 4.5 minutes or so, it is really damning, isn't it? And Lassa maybe even just to over to Compact. That will not be registered a shot as it does travel wide. Rai can't quite get it into the middle, and it will trickle back to the blue half of the field. And SK Gaming will have 4 attempts to close it out against BOTIFARRA.
Well, that's a surprise. I thought this one wouldn't get to that stage, at least this quickly here in terms of working out who's going to get to the match point. But Crafters, we can sit here, as you say, talk about the statistics of the game. We can sit here and talk about whether a side is playing well or not here. I think everybody can see it for themselves here. SK Gaming are just right now that class above here, and they're just effortless. They're actually a joy to watch in terms of how they're moving across here. And while there is players on their opposition counterparts that may be the player of the future, those are the players of today, and they're just reaping the reward off it.
66% field domination for SK Gaming. I mean, when you have 12 shots to 1, I'm surprised that's not even higher, maybe into the 70s or 80s for field domination for SK Gaming. Yeah, they just seem like as I said it during that game, they seem like a well-oiled machine. And even with Sima stepping in for the first time, I don't know if this is for the first time on this SK side, but certainly in high level competition. Competition. Pardon me. This is the first time we're seeing Simas step in from there. I think we are going to get the lobby changed. We've got some players leaving and whatnot, so we'll get that re-established for now. But while we get that ready, while we get the server changed over, let's take a look at how the rest of the quarterfinal round is going. We've got G1 versus Hoxie over on the Rocket Baguette stream. G1 currently 2-1 up in that series. For all you Hogan mode fans out there, you'll be happy to know that they're 2-1 up against Hanover Esports at the moment. And PSG Tundra, they're actually down 2-1 against the Norwegians. No, the Danish team. They're not Norwegian. They're Danish. I can't even pronounce what their name is.
I was tempted to help you out there, but watching you struggle in terms of trying to remember what nationality was more entertaining, I do apologize there, crafters. But let's not forget that was the side for IWO for the most part as well too. So
right, yeah.
So for fellow countrymen as well, Hanover, which is the CRL side, very much two nationality squads as well too. And I'm pretty sure you actually casted their qualification match as well, Crafters too.
Back in Inter World Open.
Yes.
I believe I may have. It's been a couple of years since the IWO, so I'll have a look back at that. But yeah, I mean, for a roster to, I think it did actually look. I think the Danish side. I think it was, who was on that squad. I think it was Mads was on that side at the very least, who is not playing today. Oh no, he is playing today.
Yeah, it's Creamy and Edgy.
Yeah, you're right. No, I think that was the team. You might be right on that one.
Well, what we look at it in terms of past and future here, somewhat here. The fact that they're still going, what, sake of argument, say 2 years ago, give or take the history mark off it. The fact that they are still at the top of the bubble here and making some competitive drives, it just shows you the bottom end of this sort of quarterfinal line downwards. There is threats there to be had.
Certainly so, and threats all throughout the entirety of this Rising Stars Odyssey tournament. I mean, G1, like we said earlier, looking for their second win in a row in this tournament system. But by the way, absolutely been loving all the community tournaments. You've got stuff like the draw, and obviously ourselves in Rising Stars Odyssey. It's great to see all the support from Psyonix and from our sponsors Ally as well. Thank you very much for making this a reality. But I think we are just about ready to go for game number 4 as SK and BOTIFARRA. I think what happened was we accidentally put the daytime map on for Utopia Coliseum as we want the dust. We don't want players being blinded or anything like that.
No, I want the brighter maps.
I
want to be cheery like me, crafters.
Do you know, I was playing I've been playing in a league with my friends in a Discord server for the last few weeks, and I think the last series we played, we ended up whoever was running the lobby put one of the snow maps on. We're like, oh my goodness, turn this off. We don't want the snow map. This is rubbish. And then we ended up winning that game, and we almost reverse swept our opponents. It was fun nonetheless. By the way, confirmation: we can't play day because Simas is colorblind, so we will get onto the dust map. So there you go, Danny. There's your reason why we can't play in the daytime map.
I actually already knew that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I did not.
I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't want to say he was colorblind or anything. So I was just going to say it was a technical issue. But
so that's my bad for showing behind the scenes. I'll take the hit on that.
No. Everybody should know. I don't think he's that conscious on it. But again, I just always worry when sometimes that comes about here. But thankfully, though, Craftman, it is not the snow map here, and I do have a story about that. But if we do end early, I'll save you for that one for later.
Yeah, let's talk about the story of SK Gaming right now. Here against BOTIFARRA. No goal within 10 seconds, so that's an improvement for BOTIFARRA. They'll be happy to keep this one going in the first 30 seconds without conceding. Maybe even getting a goal here. Rai looking to run a little bit of interference, and Compact can't win the 50 against Tekos. Well defended in net. Here comes Simas. Flip reset is in his hands, but wasn't able to do anything with it. Now SK maybe feeling a little bit of pressure here because they are used to playing with that advantage early on. Now the first minute comes and is nearly gone and will go, and without an SK goal.
Can you say that again, Crawford?
The first minute comes and goes, and SK haven't scored.
Thank you. I thought my ears was in disbelief there. That is outstanding. The fact they haven't conceded shows maybe that small break in the slight change of map here at least allowed a bit of time to recover here. But one problem is you just allowed the net exposed, and a shot wide like that should have been 1-0.
Now that has somewhat been an issue from SK. Shooting accuracy hasn't been the best. There have been a couple of crossbars hit and some post whacked. It does come and bite them there. Still 0-0, and BOTIFARRA can't respond by going down the field and putting one in for themselves. Naz up in the air. He's been a specialist, especially from this left-hand side of the net, putting a lot of pressure onto the net of BOTIFARRA. Still 2 minutes off the clock and no goals have been found. Might be one here. Oh, Tekos puts it in himself. Disaster on the line for SK, and BOTIFARRA had their first lead.
First time SK Gaming had to defend here, and I didn't think I'd be using this word, but that was just diabolical.
Absolutely. You gotta get your catchphrase in every now and again. Oh, is that a fake kickoff? That is
Oh,
very
was.
interesting. It does
Oh.
give Naz a shot on net. And just as diabolical it was as it was on defense, they pull out the diabolical kickoff strat. 1-1, Danny.
From diabolical to delightful. From one end to the other, that's what you needed to do. SK Gaming, fair play to you for making that decision.
Oh.
But they cannot put that one away. Other side of the pitch with Compact, though this should at least be on target for the time being.
Does at least get that on target and forces Naz into a save. But it is SK with possession right back downfield. Simas to net and to Tekos top corner 2-1.
I am right now extremely envious. The pass was wonderful, the shots here. Oh, that is extremely difficult just to do. Try it, go for it, because get the power, get the accuracy onto that and place it top left as well. Craftman, I think we might be seeing one of our grand finalists here.
They're certainly playing like that. After a disaster on the goal line, they have been exquisite downfield. Simas gets a third for SK, and they show absolutely no signs of slowing down.
Certainly. Why slow down? You're talking about the pedal. You just have to be careful. Do you know what? Keep it to the floor, but you don't want to end up like a Flintstones and Yabba Dabba Doo while carrying a big large rock here. But unfortunately, one of our teams is barefoot and have no motor.
BOTIFARRA, first lead that they've had as well, remember. And it's been 3 quick goals back for SK. What can you do if you're BOTIFARRA? Just feels like every touch you're making is being met right there by SK. Again, Rai trying to clear. Tekos is there to cause him trouble. Back into the midfield. Lassa can't even make the shot because SK are just meeting at the pass every single time. And Tekos winning 2 50s back-to-back like that gives Naz a chance to make it 4. But not quite on target, and it'll let Rai come back upfield. But again, these demos starting to play their part. They have opened up for BOTIFARRA. Rai can't win it in the air against Naz, and down the other end, it will be Simas. Couldn't quite make the shot. Good block there from Lassa. At least keeps this at a 2-goal deficit going into the final 60 seconds.
That's a good infield pass, and that's just
great.
delivered. Oh, this is good. Fabulously tucked away. I thought the first pass to Compact was unfortunately a bottle job, but they recovered it at the last second.
It was a bump on the goal line from Lassa. Took Naz out of the equation, Danny, and has given BOTIFARRA a chance. I said they needed to score quick, and they have. A minute remains on this clock for BOTIFARRA to save their tournament. Full reverse sweep required in the series, but they'd like to kick that off here with a Game 4 victory. Right, into the corner. Only met by Tekos. 45 seconds now. Time is ticking thin. Tekos maybe even looking for the fourth for SK, and it would certainly square this game away and square the series away as well. But Sebas is getting bumped. It's an absolute bullying on the back line, and BOTIFARRA have drawn it level.
Oh, I do love when the bump just goes across and you're flying in the air and you just watch Samus just sits there, especially when you're the one doing it, sort of going, you have got no hope in saving that, Crafters, because hit it low, just like that, drive it, 3-3, comfortable, and glues them to get back into the game. It's actually the first time they've actually tied the game up to really give themselves a chance to maybe win it in OT.
20 seconds left. OT a possibility, as you say. But I imagine BOTIFARRA would want to make a statement and win this in regulation in the final 10 seconds. They've been scored on in the first 10 seconds of every game so far, except this one. Can they score in the final 10? Tekos to the back wall. Maybe looking to drop this down and get his team out of this spot of trouble that they find them in. Right, out of the corner, and it will be Naz to send it to extra time.
SK Gaming to move on to the semi-final. If not, we do at least another match in this set. Lasses unfortunately just catches that one, beats out 1-2, not the third here, but where will it spill? And Craftman, if it is a pass, it's going to be brilliant. The shots, however, was the wrong play in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think that needed to be a pass, but I don't think Compact was in any position to take it. He was sitting back, but if it was met by SK in the same vein that they've been doing all game long, all series long, one dunk and that was it. It would have been, I should say. Here comes Lassa. Oh, Compact and Lassa, same place, same time, but could pinch it into the net. It bounces high and off the backboard, and now gives SK run down the field. Naz, 4-3, that's it.
A delightful little volley as well. What could have been maybe a saving grace, but it's just pure domination, Crafters. A 4-0 sweep in any quarter-final. That's alarming for any of the rest of the competition if they're even looking at what SK's just done there.
They have absolutely wiped the floor with BOTIFARRA. You got to give them their credit, though, BOTIFARRA. They battled so valiantly towards the end, but it was too much in the end for them to take SK Gaming. A wonderful 4-0 sweep for them. As we bring back in our lovely host, Jar of Jam. Jam, I want your thoughts and opinions on that series, because it just felt like SK had control from the start to the very finish. I believe you're muted, Jam. We cannot hear you, sir.
Of course I am. Of course I am.
Oh,
I'm
turn your mic on, Leaf X.
Speechless is what I am, because that series, oh my god, both teams just listening to Olivia Newton-Jones, let's get physical, is the feeling that I got from that series, just hunting goalies in every single rotation, and the surgical passes from BOTIFARRA is what I was savoring every single time, but that was not enough. That was not enough, and SK Gaming indeed just had control over the series, and they managed to close it out over and over and over again. Still a great series to watch. I'm sort of shocked after what has happened in the first game, exchange of the goals back and forth. You folks mentioned that it's going to be 4 or 5 goals, and indeed it was 5-2 was the result of the first game. It felt like the series was going to be much closer, and yet didn't end up going that way. Still feels like there was enough saving graces for BOTIFARRA. So, Craftman, what your favorite parts about Compact, Lassa, and Ray about their play? Is it the same things I've mentioned, or have you spotted anything else?
Yeah, I do agree. There was some, sparks of hope in there for BOTIFARRA. I think when they eventually got into a rhythm and they weren't being pressured by SK, the upfield passes and infield passes, they were hitting their strides every now and again. I think if they can keep that momentum going, and obviously we saw some, like you mentioned, some physical demos and bumps and whatnot on the goal line for them. I think that's their play style going forward, but it's all about consistency, and they were just not consistent enough against this beast that seems to be SK.
And what about that tryout? Simas coming in for Ray. Ray playing for BOTIFARRA, Danny. Who, out of the two, who was the best?
I think Samus is probably the better player, at least in terms of what we just saw on there. What he has done prior to that point in time was quite good here. But to sit there say individually, none of them stood out in terms of as that star player, which is actually to me a better quality than having that one player you rely on, Jam. It's quite easy to sometimes fall into that trap. The whole team deserves credit. Craftman said this actually. It's the chemistry was that the impressive part of that, and Joe Watt rightly deserved here, especially after a 4-0 win.
Bravo, bravo to SK Gaming. BOTIFARRA is dropping out, but at least they can be happy in knowing that $500 are going their way. Let's take a peek at that bracket because matches have been happening. This was one of 4 quarters, and let's actually quickly. Let's go through as they are. G1 versus Team Husky. G1 just continues their run. Seems like they want to get the W in the grand finals once again. And who's there to stop them? Well, SK Gaming is going to try to do just that. Hogan Mode and Hanover Esports. Folks, everybody who wanted to see Hogan Mode, I do not believe we're going to be seeing them first. No.
You've got they've got their wish though. We are going to be watching both semi-finals, so all the Hogan Mode stands. Get your bros out and chat in maybe about an hour or so.
But stands are on the standby because, indeed, as it has been confirmed, G1 versus SK Gaming is going to be our first quarterfinal or a semifinal. And just before your very eyes, ain't technology great, Danny? League Esports finish their win versus none other than PSG Tundra. And that must be the biggest upset of the bracket that we've seen so far.
Well, we'll say we yes for now here, Jam.
I suppose Monaco Esports as well, but still PSG Tundra.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tundra is a surprise here, but you're playing against a side that was in IWO. They've got more chemistry than probably that Tundra even has. I'm not surprised here to the fact that they've won. I'm surprised by the result being 4-1, Jat, more than anything else.
Ooh, wow, that's a strong prediction. And now, of course, Hogan Mode needs to prove that they're still on the top and team to buy for. Or if League Esports just comes in as a national roster and takes the pride of Denmark, not Norway, not Netherlands. We just something about those Danes is just. We'll make sure even their team logo is Danish flag for everybody's sake. We're gonna get there. We're absolutely gonna get there. But what a day already. Unfortunately, goodbye to Team Husky, BOTIFARRA, Hanover Esports, and PSG Tundra. There's still a chance for them to come back next time in September when our next Rising Star Odyssey tournaments are going to be happening, but there's still plenty series to go. Exactly. 3 more. 2 semifinals, 1 grand final, all best of 7s, all for big prizes, $14,000 on the line. And first up, G1 versus SK Gaming. But before that, how about a little break?
What's with these seats, bro? I thought you had the hookup.
Dude, it's all us retired players get.
Can you believe we're here? Game 7, grand finals of the World Championship?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool and all, but what about me? What about, like, everybody else?
Everybody else?
Yeah, like all the players looking to make it to the next level. Like, what if there was a tournament for them?
Yeah, but who's gonna do that?
Le décompte est lancé. Dans les airs.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Rising Stars Odyssey number 3. Look, we love to serve the people. We've been seeing your cries in Twitch chat. Hogan mode, Hogan mode, Hogan mode, no-go mode. We're not going to be covering